Hey guys, give you the story of my old Les Paul I got here, right? This is a 1991 Studio, bone stock. Had the covers off. I've had it when I bought the guitar. It was in pristine condition. I got a good story about when I bought it. Well, back in the 90s, we had guitar shows and where you could go. There's like just like used guitars everywhere. Well, a huge one was here in Detroit, Michigan. It was at the State Fairgrounds Coliseum. It was called, I think it was sponsored by Gordy's Music. And it drew a big crowd every year. And we would always go, me and my dad and a couple buddies of mine, and we'd have a blast, man. My dad would stand and uh, talk with George Gruen of Gruen Music out of Nashville. And he'd stand there because George would be standing like in the entryway just buying guitars as they come in. And Dad would stand and talk with him and blah, 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 blah. And it was just such a treat to watch, man. I miss that old guy. I miss my dad, but you grow and you live and you learn how to accept things. And anyways, we went to a guitar show. I want to think it was in around 90. Oh God, 6, 7, or 8. I'm not sure. I can't really remember the exact time frame. Yeah, I'm almost 60 years old myself, so it's you know a lot of stuff's happened between now and then. But anyways, it was in Columbus, Ohio, and I believe it was at the Aladdin Center. And it was a good size guitar show, and the tables were all back to back like this, and I think there was three sections or three double rows of tables where you'd walk down the aisle, come back up, and then go back down, like kind of like a triple S formation, right? Well, my cousin Jim was there, and a couple of his buddies, and I think they had a table there too, selling some stuff. Uh, he's my rock star cousin. He's been in the game for forever, right? Look, a couple of years older than me, just old enough to be my guitar hero. And it's no bullshit either. He's taught me a whole lot of guitar stuff. Between him and my dad and my uncle Jim, who's the best damn blues player I ever knew. I mean, us kids learned a lot from them guys. Anyways, we're down there. We're walking around, walking into Stratocasters were everywhere. Everybody had to have a Stratocaster, because they were hot. Stevie Ray Vaughan had died in 91, and everybody wanted the old beat up Fender Stratocasters. They were selling for, oh my God, 13, 14, $15,000. I'm going to myself, these people are crazy, but they just had to have them old Fenders, right? But I was looking for a Les Paul. I really wanted a Les Paul. I never had one. I had plenty of Epiphones, but I never had a real Gibson. So I was looking at three different ones. This was one of them, right? And another one was red, well, like a burgundy, but it was transparent. I guess you call it like a Mary Jane finish. I guess I don't know. It was a actual topped guitar. It wasn't a photo finish on it. And the other one I think was a blonde, or it was painted blonde or a goldish blonde, and it was pretty hack though. It had been molested quite a bit. And then this one, which at that time it was pristine. This guitar was absolutely gorgeous, not a spot on it. It's a 1991 Gibson Les Paul Studio, and it's dated 416. So I'm not sure on the serial number if it's the 416th stamp for this model or April 16th, but it is a 9-1. So that's your first and fifth serial number, something like that. But anyways, I looked at this a couple times. It's getting close to the end of the day. It was on a Sunday, and I asked the guy sitting there at the table, and he's like uh, writing stuff down and making notes and reading and stuff. Back then, cell phones were not, smartphones were like nowhere, right? Um, Pagers, people had pagers that they carried back then, and if I had one at work that where they could page me a 3-line message. It had a display on it, right? But anyways, he was fooling with something like that, or a PDA or something. Um, Hell, it could have been one of them Coleco football games. I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it. I was looking at the guitar, and I said, "Hey, what's your story on your guitars?" He said, "Well," he said, I've got." He had like, I think, 5 or 6 on his table. He had one table. He had like 4 or 5 keyboards stacked on top of each other. And I'm not talking like Casios. I'm talking some nice Korgs and some high dollar stuff. Wurlitzers, I mean, big full size, big thick with all the jacks on the back keyboards. He had this guitar, and I want to say he had a Kramer, a Kramer guitar. Maybe it was a Kramer or Charvel, and a Stratocaster. They were all black, just no bindings, no nothing pretty on them, just black. And so I said, "Well, what do you got to have on the Gibson?" So he gave me a price, and I thought it was like ridiculously low. And I'm thinking to myself, "Wow, man, this guy's hurting for some money or something." But anyways, we settled on a price, and he threw in. He said, "I'm gonna give you a tuner too," because it was like getting close to the end of the day. And so he put a tuner. He had a case for this guitar, but it was not a Gibson case. It was God, I want to think it maybe a Goya hard shell case for a Goya brand guitar, and this fit in there. So he said he had the case for this somewhere, blah blah blah, but he put the tuner in the case where you got the little lift up lid for your case candy, your strings and whatever, and he set the guitar in there, and I'm like, okay, cool. He said, "Hey," he said, "I'm gonna give you a magazine too." And I thought, okay, here comes the sales pitch or whatever. Well, he hands me this magazine. It looked like him on the front cover, and I'm looking at the magazine, looking at him. I'm going. He goes, "Yeah, it's me." And he said he had played touring with some big rock bands, right? And he mentioned Heart, the band Heart. Well, I've looked up their sideline guitar players, their backline players, and their keyboard players and stuff, and I'm pretty sure I know who he is. I'm not going to say his name because it could have just been a bullshit story too, right? But anyways, I got the guitar. I love the guitar. It's a great guitar, and I have a great story to go along with it, and that's what makes it so special. So anyways, there is nothing better playing than a good Fender Stratocaster plays well too, but a Les Paul, man. Just got that man, this guitar just brings back some memories. Anyways, you guys rock on, man. Have a great day. And get your guitars out and play. There ain't nothing like it for a stress reliever. It helps, brings your endorphins up. You get your breathing going when you're really chugging in with it, right? I mean, so have fun. God bless. See you later.